Okay, so let us start again. So today we shall discuss about electron gun. Electron gun. So we may say that this is the first application of the motion of the charged particle in the electromagnetic field. Okay, so we have seen that whenever the charged particle is in the electrostatic field, longitudinal electric field, then the charged particle is accelerated in the direction of electric field. When it is moving in the direction perpendicular to the electric field, then the charged particle follows the parabolic path. Okay, and whenever the charged particle is in motion in the magnetic field, then depending on the direction of the magnetic field, charged particle follows a circular path either in the clockwise direction and or in the anti-clockwise direction. Okay, and the radius of that circular path also we have seen the equation for that. So today we will see the application of this particular phenomena, and that application takes place in the device whose name is electron gun. So what is basically electron gun? So electron gun is nothing but it is a device. It is a device in which highly focused and energetic beam of electrons is obtained. So electron gun is nothing but one kind of device which shoots the electron with very high velocity. It is not a normal gun which shoots the bullet, but instead of bullet, this particular device will shoot the electrons, and these electrons will be of high energy and they will be focused at one particular point. It can be focused at one particular point. So that particular device is called as a electron gun. And what is the principle of this particular device? Principle of this device is the electrons are accelerated via non-uniform electric field. Electrons are accelerated via non-uniform electric field. So up till now we have been looking about the motion of the charged particle in uniform electric field, but in the case of electron gun, non-uniform electric field is applied. So we are not going to detail about this non-uniform electric field. What we have to remember is that like uniform electric field accelerates the charged particle at constant velocity. Okay, non-uniform electric field will deviate the path of the electron, and this deviation of the path of the electron will be used as a lensing effect. Okay, we know that if you have a normal lens, optical lens, then what this lens will do, it will, suppose this is the incoming radiation, then this lens, suppose it is a convex lens, then it will focus all these radiation at one particular point. So we will get this particular effect is called as a lensing effect. So same is the case of, means similar to this particular optical lensing, there is a electrostatic lensing, and electrostatic lensing can be obtained or can be achieved with the help of using non-uniform electric field. Uniform and non-uniform electric field we can use, and with the help of that we can deviate the path of the electron and we can focus all these electrons at one particular point. So this is nothing but this is called as a lensing effect. Okay, so such a type of lensing effect will be used in this particular device. Okay, now we will see the construction of electron gun. So how this electron gun is basically made? If you want to see the electron gun, you might recall that if you have seen the earlier television sets, okay, who used to use the cathode ray tube, picture tube, which we used to call, right? So if you remember that particular picture tube or cathode ray tube, and if you open up that particular tube from the back side of the television set, then you might have seen that particular thing. Means here there is a shape like this, and this is a picture tube. This is our TV, the outer screen of the television set, right? And here whatever you can see so many filament like structure, copper wire, etc., etc. This particular thing is called as an electron gun. So every television set used to have the electron gun earlier. Now we are having LCD television set, okay, LED TVs. So in that LEDs and LCD TVs there is no electron gun or there is no cathode ray tube, but wherever there is a cathode ray tube, electron gun is the heart of that cathode ray tube. Okay, electron gun will be there always. So how to fabricate or how to manufacture this electron gun? So for that, every electron gun consists of a electrode which is called as a cathode. So there will be cathode. This electrode is called as a cathode. What is the job of this cathode? The job of the cathode is to emit the electrons. Okay, it will emit the electron. It will be connected to the negative terminal of the battery, and this particular cathode material will be made with the help of tungsten or barium oxide and other oxide materials also. So normally tungsten or barium oxide or any other oxide materials are used to prepare this cathode material. Now this cathode material should emit the electron. So how it will emit the electron? This cathode material will emit the electron when we will heat that particular material. So after heating, thermionic emission will take place, and because of the thermionic emission there will be the emission of electron. So in order to heat this particular cathode, we will use a filament. We will use a filament F. Now this filament is also made with the help of tungsten material. So if you have seen the incandescent bulb, so there is a tungsten filament there. So similar type of filament is used over here. Now we will supply some voltage to this particular filament. Because of this voltage there will be the flow of current, and because there is a flow of current there will be the heat generated, and this heat generated will be used to heat the cathode material, and this cathode material will now emit the electron. Okay, now this emitted electron may go in any particular direction, in any random direction. So to avoid that, what we will do, we will surround this cathode material with another cylindrical material, with another cylinder which is also one kind of electrode, and this electrode is called as a grid electrode. This electrode is called as a grid electrode G. This electrode is always at a negative potential as compared to the cathode. So you see, cathode is also negative potential and grid will also be at negative potential, but if the cathode is at suppose minus 10 volt, then the grid will be at minus 20 volt or minus 15 volt. So in this way we are saying that this grid is at more negative potential than that of the cathode. So this must be remembered. Okay, so cathode will emit the electrons by the thermionic emission, and the emitted electrons will go anywhere. Okay, and since this particular grid electrode is having negative potential, this grid electrode we are applying negative potential. So because of that, all the electrons will be forced to move in a forward direction, because negative electrons will also have a negative charge. This grid electrode is also having a negative charge. So because of negative there will be the repulsion, and because of this repulsive force all the electrons will be forced in a forward direction. Okay, so electron will be forced in the forward direction, they will move like this. Okay, they will move like this. Now these electrons, whatever electrons we have collected up to this particular positions, they will not be having sufficient energy. Okay, so they cannot be focused at one particular point. Okay, so in order to do that, what we will use some of the accelerating electrodes, So we will be using a hollow cylinders. Okay, so there is a hollow cylinder. So this is one kind of hollow cylinder, right? Then there is again another hollow cylinder, and there is a third hollow cylinder, right? This cylinder is denoted by A1, this cylinder is denoted by A2, and this cylinder is denoted by A3. Now remember that here A1 and A3, these are called as a accelerating anodes. So this and this cylinders are called as a accelerating anodes. They will have a potential up to some 500 volt, plus 500 volt here and plus 500 volts here. So both these electrodes A1 and A3, they will be at very high positive potential, and they are called as a accelerating anodes. Why they are called as a accelerating anodes? Because the job of these cylinders is to accelerate the charged particles, is to accelerate the electron beam, because here the charged particle will be as electrons, because we are only generating the electrons. So these are nothing but our charged particles, and these charged particles will be accelerated over this thing, right? And because see, here we have applied 500 volts, here we have applied 500 volts, and here we will be applying some 1200 volts, 1200 volts. Okay, So here there is a more positive voltage, here there is less positive voltage, here there is a less positive voltage. So whatever electric field we will be generating, that electric field will be of non-uniform type. Okay, it is not uniform electric field. Now what is the use of this? Why these different voltages are used? Because we want to, you see, all electrons are gathered here because A1 is at positive potential. They will attract, this cylinder will attract all the electrons, okay, and they will be accelerated. Because of the acceleration, their energy will be increased. So they will be pointed over here, but this much energy is again not sufficient. So we want to again increase the energy of electrons. So in order to again increase the energy of the electrons, we are using these many electrodes. Okay, so because of that, again the charge particle will be accelerated. Charge particle will be accelerated, and it will be again accelerated by the successive electrodes, and they will be focused at this particular point. They will be focused at this particular point. This anode A2 is called as focusing anode, is called as a focusing anode. So if you want to focus the charge particles, the electrons at one particular point, then that focusing spot may be adjusted with the help of adjusting this much voltage. And if you change the voltage on the electrode A2, your focusing will be changed. Now sharpness of the electron beam can be adjusted by changing the voltages between A1 and A3. Okay, if you change the voltages across accelerating anode A1 and accelerating anode A3, the sharpness of the electron beam will be changed, and the intensity of the electron beam, see, on which factor the intensity will be dependent? Intensity will be dependent on the number of electrons generated. So who is going to generate the number of electrons? The cathode is generating the number of electrons. And who is controlling the number of electrons? Actually, the control grid G is controlling the number of electrons. So grid potential, if you change the grid potential, the intensity of the focus beam will be changed. Okay, so with the help of controlling different voltages, if you control the voltage of the grid cylinder, then your intensity will be different. If you control the voltage across the accelerating anodes A1 and A3, then sharpness of the beam will be changed. And if you control the voltage across the focusing anode A2, then the focusing of the electron beam will be changed, right? So all these things can be controlled with the help of this particular device. And finally, at the output, you can have a screen. You can have a screen at which you can see or you can visualize this electron beam. Okay, you can move the electron beam in the vertical direction and downward direction. For that you have to use again a deflecting plates. Okay, so that is not the part of this electron gun. Actually, we are only looking at the electron gun, and job of this electron gun is to produce the beam of electron, highly energetic beam of electron. So this is the working of electron gun. Okay, and this electron gun is the heart of any cathode ray tube. Whenever you will have a cathode ray tube, whenever you will have an imaging device, in that imaging device, the heart of that imaging device will be the electron gun, because unless you have the electron beam, you cannot visualize any particular images, right? So this is about electron gun. Now next, so next topic is linear accelerator. Linear accelerator, it is also called as LINAC. It is also called as a LINAC. Okay, linear accelerator or the LINAC. Now what is this linear accelerator? Now you might have imagined, okay, that we know that every substance consists of atoms. Okay, and atom consists of positively charged nucleus and negatively charged electrons are revolving around the nucleus. Now how we come to know that every atom consists of negatively charged electrons and positively charged nucleus? Okay, and in that also, it means in the nucleus also, we say that normally that there exist protons and neutrons. So forget about this structure of atom. Let us focus only on the structure of nucleus. We now know that every nucleus consists of positively charged protons and negative and neutral neutrons. How do we know that? In order to know that this particular nucleus consists of protons and neutrons, we have to first break the nucleus. No, we have to first break the nucleus. Now in order to break the nucleus, we require some kind of energy. Okay, we have to supply some sufficient amount of energy to this particular nucleus, then only this nucleus can be broken, and then only we could see that what is inside the nucleus. So in order to see the inside structure of the nucleus, we have to supply energy. Now with which we will supply this particular energy? So in order to supply the energy, actually we have to bombard this nucleus by particles. And which type of particles? Specially charged particles. We have to bombard this nucleus by the charged particle, highly energetic charged particle. Then only the energy of this charged particle will be given to the nucleus. And if the energy supplied by this charged particle to the nucleus is greater than the binding energy of the nucleus itself, then this nucleus can be broken up and it will show what is the internal structure of that particular nucleus. So in order to break the things, you need to have a large amount of energy, and you need to bombard that particle with you need to bombard that particular entity with some particles which will be having a very large amount of energy. Now in order to increase the energy of a charged particle, okay, you need to have a devices, and one of such a device is called as a linear accelerator. So linear accelerator is a device whose job is to increase the energy of the charged particles, particularly positively charged particles. So a normal linear accelerator will use a positive source of ions, okay, source of positive ions, and it will impart energy to these particular ions, and these particular ions will later be used to bombard any nucleus or nucleus like entities, okay, so that this energy can be given to some other particular substance. So this linear accelerator is a device which is used to provide a charged particles of very high energy, or very or what we can say that with the help of linear accelerator we will obtain the charged particle of very high energy, right? And later on this high energy charged particle can be used to bombard the nucleus or other particular substances, right? Now what is the principle of this linear accelerator? Principle of this linear accelerator. So this linear accelerator works on the principle of accelerating charged particles by series of alternate coaxial cylinders, hollow cylinders. So principle of this linear accelerator is the accelerating of the charged particles by series of alternate coaxial hollow cylinders and RF voltage. What is meant by RF voltage? RF stands for radio frequency voltage. So what means how these highly energetic charged particles are generated, are obtained? So in general, any linear accelerator will be operating on this particular principle, that it will accelerate the charged particle. It will successively accelerate the charged particle again and again by allowing the charged particle to move through a series of hollow coaxial cylinders, alternate series of hollow coaxial cylinders, which will be connected to the RF signal voltage, RF signal source or RF signal voltage, right? Now let us see the construction. Very simple phenomena, but very difficult to fabricate such a particular device. So how the construction of this linear accelerator is, so that we will see. So in general we will be using a positively charged particles. So we need a source of ion. So there will be a source of ion. Okay. So here there will be the source of positive ions. So it will generate the source. It will emit the positively charged particles here and there. So we want that this positively charged particle should travel in a line, in a single line. So what we will do, we will use a slit. We will use a slit. So this slit will allow the charged particle to move in one particular line. Okay, so this charged particle will move in a one particular line. So this particular job will be done by using the slit. Okay, now the charged particle will be moving through this slit. Okay, and it will be moving with some velocity. For example, let us consider that v0 is the velocity of the charged particle after the slit. Okay, now here starts the construction of linear accelerator. Okay, what we have to do, we have to use a coaxial cylinders, hollow cylinder. So this is first cylinder. Okay, this is hollow cylinder. Okay, coaxial hollow cylinder. So its axis will be like this. So suppose this is the axis of the cylinder. Coaxial means what? The axis of all the cylinders should be same, right? So this is the axis of the cylinder. So this is the first cylinder. Then after some distance there will be second cylinder, but the length of second cylinder will be more than that of the first cylinder, right? So this is second cylinder. After that there will be third cylinder after some distance, right? And again the length of the third cylinder will be more. Then after that there will be the fourth cylinder after some distance, and length of the fourth cylinder will be again more, right? And again there will be fifth cylinder, sixth cylinder, seventh cylinder, like that, so on. It consists of large number of cylinders. This complete length of this device is of the order of some kilometers, hundreds of kilometers sometimes. It depends on how much you want to increase the energy. Okay, if you want to increase more and more energy, then you will have to use the large number of cylinders, right? So what I have done, I have used so many cylinders. All these cylinders are coaxially arranged, means axis of all the cylinders is same, only one axis is there. Okay, so suppose that this is cylinder number 1, cylinder number 2, cylinder number 3, cylinder number 4, cylinder number 5, right? Okay, now next what we have to do, we have to take all odd number of cylinders, we have to connect all odd number of cylinders to one terminal of the AC power supply. And which type of AC power supply we are using? We are using RF signal voltages. Okay, so there will be some RF signal generator. RF signal generator is nothing but one type of AC voltage generator, right? So normally in any household, normally we are having AC signal. Okay, it is represented like this, and what is the voltage? 240 volt. 240 volt or 230 volt at the most, right? So this is the normal AC signal which has been supplied by the electricity department to our house. Okay, here we cannot use such a voltage. Okay, the frequency of this particular voltage means household voltage is 50 hertz, but here we cannot use such a particular device. Okay, we cannot use the normal voltage here. We have to use the radio frequency voltage, means we have to use the voltage whose frequency is very, very high. How much high? So radio frequency means what? Its frequency should be of the order of 10 raised to 3 to 10 raised to 9 hertz. The frequency should be of the order of 10 raised to 3 to 10 raised to 9 hertz. What is the normal frequency of our household AC signal? It is only 50 hertz. So that AC signal we cannot use in this particular device. We have to use very high voltage and with very high frequency, that is 10 raised to 3 to 10 raised to 9 hertz, right? So this is our RF signal generator. It will have again two terminal, right? So what we have to do, we have to combine all the odd number of cylinders. So let us first combine odd number of cylinders. Cylinder number 1 is odd, cylinder number 3 is odd, and cylinder number 5 is odd. In this case, in our case, there are only 5 cylinders, so we will consider only 5 cylinders, right? But there will be n number of cylinders in general. So we have to combine all the odd number of cylinders, and all odd number of cylinders are connected to one terminal of RF signal generator. Okay, now after that, all the even terminals, even terminals means what? Even cylinders means what? Cylinder number 2, cylinder number 4, right, cylinder number 6, and so on. So all the even cylinders, all the even number of cylinders are combined together, and their common terminal is connected to another terminal of RF signal generator. Their common terminal is connected to the another terminal of RF signal generator. Okay, so this is the construction of this linear accelerator. Okay, but not only this, after doing that, what we have to do, we have to completely enclose this complete assembly. We have to enclose this complete assembly to a evacuated chamber, where no other gas molecule should enter into this particular device. Okay, it means that we have to maintain a complete vacuum, near complete vacuum, so that whenever the charge particle will be moving, and if there are the air molecules present, then what this charge particle will do, it will collide with that air molecule and it will transfer its energy to the air molecule, and that air molecules will be ionized, and again new charge particles will be created. So that will not be of use. Okay, that will again destroy our particular device. So in order to save our particular device, all this assembly has to be completely air evacuated, right? Okay, so this is how our linear accelerator will look like. Okay, now we will see what is the working of this linear accelerator. Okay.